I stared at my front door, keys frozen in my hand. Music pulsed through the walls of my house that I'd spent 7 years saving for. Through the windows, I could see dozens of people in formal wear, mingling, laughing, holding champagne flutes that I definitely didn't own. For a moment, I thought I'd walked up to the wrong house. But no, there was the ceramic owl my grandmother had given me, perched by the front door. There was my welcome mat, now covered in glitter. And there, taped to my door, was a banner that read, Annual Children's Hope Charity Gala, hosted by Sarah Mitchell. Sarah Mitchell, my sister. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and unlocked my door. The noise hit me like a physical wave. Classical music, chatter, the clink of glasses, and the distinct sound of my antique coffee table being used as a buffet station. "Oh my God, Emily, you're home early." Sarah's voice cut through the chaos. She appeared in front of me, resplendent in a designer dress I'd never seen before, her makeup perfect, her smile wide, but not quite reaching her eyes. "What is this?" I managed to ask, my voice surprisingly calm despite the rage building in my chest. "It's the Children's Hope Charity Gala." She beamed, gesturing around at my transformed living room. "We've already raised over $50,000. Isn't it amazing?" I looked around slowly. My furniture had been pushed against the walls or removed entirely. My photos were gone, replaced by elaborate flower arrangements. A string quartet played in the corner where my reading chair used to be. And everywhere, were people I didn't know, drinking wine I hadn't bought, eating food I hadn't approved. "Sarah," I said carefully, "how exactly are you paying for all this?" Her smile flickered for just a second. "Oh, don't worry about that. It's all going to such a good cause. Look." She pulled something from her clutch, my credit card. My emergency credit card that I'd given her the passcode to last year when she needed to buy medicine for her son at 2 a.m. The room suddenly felt very cold. "How much?" I asked. "What? How much did you spend?" She waved her hand dismissively. "Only like $15,000. But Emily, think about the children. And everyone's been so generous with their donations. Plus, Mom and Dad are so proud. They're around here somewhere." As if on cue, my mother appeared, wearing a new dress I definitely hadn't seen before. "Emily, darling, isn't this wonderful? Your sister is doing such important work." I looked between them, my sister, my mother, both dressed in clothes that still had tags on them, both beaming with pride over a charity event they'd organized with my money, in my house, without my permission. "Get them out," I said quietly. "What?" Sarah's smile faltered. "Get them out?" "Emily, don't be ridiculous," my mother hissed, stepping closer. "There are important people here. The mayor's wife is by the punch bowl. Think about how this looks." "I don't care if the Queen of England is in my bathroom," I said, my voice rising. "This is my house. That's my credit card, and I want everyone out. Now." Sarah's face darkened. "You're being selfish. This is for charity." "Selfish." I laughed, and the sound was harsh enough to make several nearby guests turn and stare. "I work 60-hour weeks as a surgeon. I save lives every day. I bought this house with my own money I earned cutting into people's bodies and putting them back together. And you think I'm selfish because I don't want you to steal from me? It's not stealing." Sarah protested. "It's family. And anyway, you're always saying you want to do more charitable work. I'm helping you." That's when I saw it, the slight smirk at the corner of her mouth, the gleam in her eye. She planned this. She knew exactly what she was doing. This wasn't about charity at all. I pulled out my phone and dialed 911. "What are you doing?" My mother grabbed my arm. "Calling the police to report trespassing and credit card theft," I said calmly, shaking off her grip. Sarah's face went white. "You wouldn't." "Try me." "Emily," my mother pleaded, "think about your sister's reputation. She's on the board of 3 charities. Maybe she should have thought about that before stealing from me." The operator answered, and I spoke clearly into the phone. "Yes, I'd like to report unauthorized use of my home and credit card fraud." The effect was immediate. Sarah grabbed the microphone from the small stage they'd set up in my dining room. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so sorry, but we're having some technical difficulties. If you could all please make your way to the exits." As the confused crowd began to disperse, I stood by my door watching. My mother was crying quietly, mascara running down her cheeks. Sarah was rushing around, trying to maintain her composure while shooing people out. I saw my father in the corner, red-faced and angry, but for once, keeping his mouth shut. When the last guest had left, Sarah turned to me, her perfect makeup now smeared with tears. "I can't believe you did this to me. To the charity." I walked to my kitchen, opened my laptop, and pulled up my banking app. "Let's see exactly what you did to me, shall we?" I began scrolling through the charges. New catering company, $5,000. Wine and spirits, $3,000. Flowers, $2,000. Oh, and look, a new Gucci dress charged this morning. For the charity, I assume. Sarah flushed. I needed to look presentable. And Mom's new dress, Dad's new suit, the 3 spa appointments this week, all for the children. "You're being ridiculous," my mother cut in. "Your sister works so hard for these causes. She deserves to look her best." I kept scrolling. Hair and makeup for 4 people. Who was the 4th, Sarah? Oh wait, here's a charge for a day at the luxury spa resort. Yesterday, with 3 friends. Was that for the children too? "Stop it," Sarah whispered. "No, I don't think I will stop. You know what I was doing yesterday while you were getting hot stone massages with my money? I was performing emergency surgery on a 6-year-old car crash victim, 12 hours in the OR. And I couldn't even come home and rest because you turned my house into your personal party venue. We'll pay you back," my father finally spoke up. I laughed. "With what money? The money you borrowed from me last month for your business opportunity? Or maybe the money Sarah borrowed for her son's private school tuition? The tuition she posted about paying for herself on Instagram?" They all stared at me, silent for once. "You know what the funny thing is?" I continued, my voice eerily calm. "I would have helped. If you'd asked, if you'd been honest, I would have contributed to your charity. I would have even let you use my house. But you didn't ask. You took. You always take." "That's not fair," Sarah protested weakly. "No? Let's talk about fair." I pulled up another screen on my laptop. "Let's talk about how I've paid for your son's private school for the past 2 years while you post on social media about being a boss mom who does it all. Let's talk about how I covered Mom and Dad's mortgage last year when Dad's investment fell through. Let's talk about how I'm the emergency contact for everyone's credit cards, the guarantor on every loan, the one who fixes everything while you all take the credit." My mother started crying harder. Sarah just stood there, her perfectly manicured hands clutching her designer purse, probably also bought with my money. "Emily, please," she whispered. "I'm sorry. I needed this. The other board members all host such amazing events. I couldn't look like the poor one." "So you stole from me?" "Borrowed," she insisted. "I was going to pay you back with the donations." I closed my laptop slowly. "Get out." "What?" "Get out of my house. All of you. Now." "Emily," my father started, his face turning that dangerous shade of red that usually preceded a tantrum. "No," I held up my hand. "I'm done. I'm done being your bank. I'm done being your safety net. I'm done watching you take everything I work for and act like you deserve it." They didn't move. "Get out," I repeated, "or I call the police back and press charges for real this time." Sarah gathered her things, tears streaming down her face. "You're going to regret this," she said. "Family is everything." I looked at her, really looked at her. My beautiful, selfish sister who had never worked a real job in her life. Who had married rich, divorced richer, and still somehow always needed more. "No," I said quietly. "Family is supposed to be everything, but you turned it into a transaction, and I'm closing my account." They left, finally. The house was eerily quiet in their wake. I walked through each room, surveying the damage. Empty glasses everywhere. Crumbs ground into my carpet, a wine stain on my grandmother's antique tablecloth. I sat down at my kitchen counter and pulled out my phone. First, I called my credit card company and reported fraud. Then I called my bank and froze all my accounts. One by one, I canceled every automatic payment I had set up for them. Sarah's son's school, my parents' mortgage, the utilities I paid for Sarah's condo. Finally, I opened my laptop again and began typing. "Dear family, you've taught me something important today. You've shown me exactly what I mean to you. Not a sister, not a daughter, but a convenient ATM with a pulse. So I'm teaching you something in return. Actions have consequences. By the time you read this, I will have canceled all automatic payments, frozen all shared accounts, reported credit card fraud, removed myself as guarantor from your loans, canceled all cards you had access to. You wanted to play with my money. Fine, but now you get to play without it. Goodbye, Emily. I hit send, then blocked their numbers. My hands were shaking, but my mind was clear. Tomorrow I would call my lawyer. Tomorrow I would start the process of untangling myself from their financial web. Tomorrow I would begin to reclaim my life. But tonight I walked up to my bedroom, stripped off my scrubs, and took the longest, hottest shower of my life. And for the first time in years, I felt clean. As I lay in bed that night, my phone buzzing with blocked calls and messages I couldn't see, I thought about Sarah's words. Family is everything. She was right, in a way. Family is everything until they treat you like nothing. I closed my eyes and slept better than I had in years. The aftermath was exactly what I expected, and yet somehow worse. By morning, my phone had 147 missed calls, 89 text messages, and 23 voicemails, all from blocked numbers. I knew without checking that my email would be just as cluttered with their desperate attempts to reach me. But the real storm started when they realized I wasn't bluffing. Sarah called my hospital first. I knew because Jessica, my favorite nurse, pulled me aside between surgeries. Your sister's been calling the front desk every hour, she whispered. Says it's a family emergency. I nodded, unsurprised. If she calls again, tell her I'm in surgery. Actually, just tell her that every time. Jessica gave me a knowing look. Already done. But she's in the lobby. Of course she was. Sarah had never respected boundaries in her life. Why start now? I found her pacing by the reception desk, still wearing designer clothes but looking significantly less polished than yesterday. Her makeup was smeared, her hair messy, and her eyes had the frantic look of someone watching their house of cards collapse. You can't do this, she hissed as soon as she saw me. Tommy's school called. The payment didn't go through. Sounds like a you problem, I replied, keeping my voice professionally neutral. We were attracting attention from patients in the waiting area. He's your nephew. You can't just abandon him. I'm not abandoning anyone. I'm simply stopping others from stealing from me. There's a difference. She grabbed my arm as I tried to walk past. Mom and Dad's mortgage payment bounced. They could lose the house. Then maybe they shouldn't have remortgaged it for Dad's failed investments. I removed her hand from my arm. Or maybe you could sell some of those designer bags you bought with my credit card. I have a reputation to maintain, she practically shrieked. The other charity board members. We'll have to find someone else to steal from. I cut her off. Security? 2 guards were already approaching, having noticed the disturbance. Sarah's eyes widened. You wouldn't. Try me. Ma'am, one of the guards said politely to Sarah, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. This is my sister, she protested. This is a hospital, I corrected. And you're disturbing patients. As they escorted her out, she turned back, her face contorted with rage and fear. Mom's crying. Dad's talking about bankruptcy. Is that what you want? I watched her go, feeling nothing but a deep, tired certainty that I was doing the right thing. The next attack came from my parents. They showed up at my house that evening, just as I was getting home from a 14-hour shift. We raised you better than this, Mom said as soon as I opened the door. Actually, you didn't raise me at all, I replied, keeping the door mostly closed. I raised myself while you were busy spoiling Sarah. Dad stepped forward, trying to use his height to intimidate me like he did when I was young. You ungrateful. Careful, I interrupted. Remember who paid for your heart medication last month. That shut him up. Emily, please, Mom tried again, her voice softer. We're family. We can work this out. Like you worked out using my credit card without permission? Or like you worked out letting Sarah throw a fake charity event in my house? It wasn't fake, Mom protested. They raised real money. For what? I asked. Because I checked. There is no registered charity called Children's Hope in our state. So where did all those donations go, Mom? She paled. Dad started sputtering excuses. That's what I thought, I said quietly. Now get off my property before I call the police. Again. They left, but not before Mom tried one last guilt trip. I carried you for 9 months. And I carried all of you for 15 years. I called after them. We're even. The next few days were a blur of damage control. I hired a lawyer to help me untangle my finances from theirs, change all my passwords, put a fraud alert on my credit, install security cameras around my house. The messages kept coming through different numbers, different emails. Tommy's crying because he might have to leave his school. The bank is threatening foreclosure. Your sister's reputation is ruined. How could you do this to your own family? But with each desperate message, each attempt to manipulate me, I grew more certain of my decision. The final straw came a week later. I was in the grocery store when I overheard two women talking. Did you hear about Sarah Mitchell? That charity gala she threw was fake. People are saying she pocketed all the donations. I heard she stole her sister's credit card to fund it. And her poor son might have to leave private school. I smiled to myself as I picked out my vegetables. The truth was finally coming out. That evening, my doorbell rang. It was Tommy, Sarah's 12-year-old son, looking uncomfortable in his private school uniform. "Aunt Emily," he said quietly, "can we talk?" I let him in. Of all of them, Tommy was the only innocent one in this mess. "Mom said you're abandoning us," he said, sitting at my kitchen counter. "But that's not true, is it? She's the one who took your stuff." Smart kid. I handed him a cookie, his favorite kind, which I always kept stocked. "Your mom made some bad choices," I said carefully, "and now she has to deal with the consequences." He nodded, dunking the cookie in milk just like he used to when he was little. "She always says you have so much money, he won't miss it." "But that's not right, is it?" "No, it's not." "I don't want to leave my school," he said quietly, "but I don't want Mom to steal from you either." I looked at this kid, this bright, honest kid who somehow hadn't inherited his mother's selfishness, and made a decision. "How about this?" I said. "If you keep your grades up and stay honest, I'll pay for your school directly, not for your mom. Just between us." His face lit up. "Really?" "Really, but you have to promise me something." "Anything. Never let anyone convince you that taking what isn't yours is okay. Not even family, especially not family." He nodded solemnly. "I promise." After he left, I sat in my quiet house, thinking about family, about choices, about the difference between helping and enabling. I had one more thing to do. I opened my laptop and began typing another email. "Dear Charity Board members, I'm writing to inform you about some concerning activities regarding recent fundraising events. Sometimes I realized the kindest thing you can do for family is let them face the consequences of their actions, even if it hurts, even if they hate you for it. Because real family doesn't steal from each other. Real family doesn't exploit each other. And real family certainly doesn't throw fake charity galas with stolen money." I hit send and smiled. The truth would do the rest. The email to the charity board had exactly the impact I expected. Within days, Sarah's carefully constructed social facade began to crumble. Her resignation from all 3 charity boards was requested. The local newspaper ran a small but devastating article about fraudulent fundraising activities. Her society friends stopped returning her calls. But I hadn't expected the nuclear fallout that followed. It started with a Facebook post from my mother, heartbroken that my own daughter would destroy her sister's life out of jealousy. "Families should support each other, not tear each other down. Please pray for us during this difficult time." The comments flooded in. "Stay strong. Some people just can't handle others' success. Blood is thicker than water." I almost laughed at the irony. Then Sarah posted her version. "As many of you know, I've dedicated my life to helping others. Recent events have shown me that no good deed goes unpunished. Even my own sister would rather see me fail than support charitable works. But I remain committed to my cause, even if others try to destroy me. #stay strong, #truth will prevail." The pressure came from all sides. Extended family members I hadn't spoken to in years suddenly had opinions about my cruelty. Old family friends called to talk sense into me. Even my father's golf buddies felt entitled to weigh in on the situation. But they didn't know about the letter I received from the FBI's Financial Crimes Unit, requesting information about the charity gala and other potentially fraudulent fundraising activities. They didn't know about the growing list of people coming forward with stories about Sarah's other charitable events, where the money somehow never made it to the intended recipients. I kept that information to myself. Let them think I was the villain. The truth would come out soon enough. One morning, I arrived at work to find an unexpected visitor in my office, my Aunt Helen. my mother's older sister and the family matriarch. Well, she said, looking at me over her reading glasses, you've certainly stirred up a hornet's nest. I waited, expecting another lecture about family loyalty. Instead, she pulled out a thick folder. Did you know your sister tried the same thing with me last year? Wanted to use my beach house for a fundraiser. When I refused, she somehow got access to my accounts anyway. Lost $30,000 before I caught on. I stared at her. Why did you say anything? Your mother convinced me to keep it quiet. For the family, she said. Aunt Helen's laugh was bitter. I should have spoken up then. Maybe we wouldn't be here now. She handed me the folder. Bank statements, forged checks, fake charity registrations, all with Sarah's fingerprints all over them. I've been collecting evidence for months. Thought you might find it useful. As I flipped through the documents, a pattern emerged. Sarah hadn't just stolen from me. She'd been running this scheme for years, using family connections to fund her lavish lifestyle under the guise of charity work. Why are you showing me this now? I asked. Aunt Helen's eyes were hard. Because someone needs to stop her, and you're the only one who's ever had the spine to try. That afternoon, I got a call from Tommy's school. Sarah had tried to withdraw him, claiming financial hardship. I immediately called the school administrator. I'll be paying his tuition directly, I informed her. And I'm authorizing you to deal only with me regarding his education from now on. Oh, thank goodness, the administrator sighed. Tommy's one of our best students. It would have been a shame to lose him. When I got home that evening, Sarah was waiting on my doorstep, mascara running down her face. You've ruined everything, she sobbed. The FBI is investigating me. My friends won't talk to me. Tommy's school wouldn't even let me withdraw him. Actions have consequences, I said, moving past her to unlock my door. I'm your sister, she screamed. You're supposed to protect me. I turned to face her. No, Sarah. I was supposed to love you. And I did. But protecting you from consequences isn't love. It's enabling. And I'm done enabling you. What am I supposed to do? She whispered. Get a job. Pay your debts. Face reality. Live honestly for once in your life. She recoiled as if I'd slapped her. A job? Like some common person. And there it was, the entitled core of her that no amount of money or manipulation could hide. Goodbye, Sarah, I said, closing the door on her protests. Inside, I found another email waiting from the FBI. They wanted to set up a formal interview about Sarah's activities. Attached was a list of questionable transactions spanning the last 5 years, amounts that made my stolen $15,000 look like pocket change. I forwarded the email to my lawyer, then called Aunt Helen. It's starting, I told her. Good, she replied. Time to let the house of cards fall. That night, I got an unexpected text from Tommy. Mom's crying about going to jail. Is that true? I considered my response carefully. Your mom made some bad choices. Now she has to deal with them. But you'll be okay, I promise. Can I still come visit you? Anytime, buddy. You're always welcome. As I got ready for bed, my phone buzzed with a news alert. The headline made me freeze. Local socialite under investigation for charity fraud. Millions missing from multiple fundraising events. Millions. The word echoed in my head. How long had this been going on? How many people had she deceived? I thought about my mother's Facebook posts about all the people calling me cruel and jealous. I thought about the years I'd spent fixing their problems, covering their debts, being the reliable one while Sarah played the star. Then I thought about Tommy, about the look in his eyes when he realized what his mother had done. About Aunt Helen, silenced by family pressure. About all the people who had donated to fake charities, thinking they were helping children in need. My phone buzzed again, another blocked number. But this time, I answered. Emily. It was my father, his voice small and broken. Did you know? About all of it. No, I said honestly, but I'm not surprised. He was quiet for a long moment. The FBI called me today. They have questions about my involvement, about the money. Then answer them honestly, I replied. It's time for the truth, Dad. All of it. He hung up without another word. I walked to my window, looking out at the quiet street. Somewhere out there, my sister's carefully constructed world was crumbling. My parents were facing the reality of their choices. And I was finally free. 2 years later, I sat in the courtroom, watching as the judge delivered Sarah's sentence. 5 years in federal prison for charity fraud. wire fraud, and financial exploitation. My parents, charged as accessories, received probation and hefty fines. The media called it the society scam. How a prominent socialite had stolen millions through fake charities, using family connections and social pressure to silence anyone who questioned her. The story made national news, destroying reputations and ending careers. But that's not the story that matters. What matters is what happened after. Tommy moved in with me during Sarah's imprisonment. His father, Sarah's ex-husband, was too busy with his new family to care. At 15 now, he's thriving. Top of his class, captain of the debate team, and more importantly, growing into an honest, hard-working young man. He told me one evening over dinner, I used to think Mom was so amazing. All those parties, all those important people. But now I understand. She was just really good at taking things that weren't hers. What matters is who you choose to be, I replied. He nodded, understanding more than most kids his age. I choose to be like you. Aunt Helen became a regular visitor, bringing wisdom and dry humor to our Sunday dinners. She helped me establish a real charitable foundation, one that actually helps children in need. We named it Truth Matters, a small dig at Sarah's fake charities, but also a promise to do better. My parents, that's more complicated. After their sentencing, they sold their house to pay the fines. They live in a small apartment now, learning to exist without safety nets. Dad actually got a job as a security guard, his first real work in decades. Mom volunteers at a food bank, finding purpose in genuine service rather than social climbing. They apologize sometimes, awkwardly, still learning how to relate to me as equals rather than as an ATM. We're not close, but we're civil. It's enough. Last week, I received a letter from Sarah in prison. I almost didn't read it, but something made me open it. Dear Emily, I had 2 years to think about what I did, not just to strangers, but to you, to Tommy, to everyone who trusted me. I always told myself I deserved more, that taking was my right because I was special. I'm not special. I'm a thief who hurt people while pretending to help them. I'm a sister who betrayed the one person who always tried to help me. I'm a mother who taught her son that lying was okay as long as you didn't get caught. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't even know if I deserve it, but I want you to know that you were right about everything. And I'm sorry it took losing everything to understand that. Take care of Tommy. You're better for him than I ever was. Sarah. I folded the letter and put it in my desk drawer. Maybe someday I'll forgive her. Maybe I won't, but that's not what matters anymore. What matters is the lesson learned, the truth revealed, the change that comes from standing firm when it would be easier to give in. Last month, Truth Matters funded its first college scholarship. The recipient? A young girl whose mother is in prison for fraud. She wrote in her application about breaking cycles, choosing integrity over ease, and building something real instead of pretending. Tommy helped select her. She reminds me of me, he said. And that's the real ending to this story. Not the fraud or the fall or even the punishment. The real ending is in the choices we make after everything falls apart, in the truth we choose to live by, in the legacy we decide to build. My house is quieter now, free from the chaos of family drama, but it's filled with something better: peace, honesty, and the knowledge that sometimes the hardest choices lead to the best outcomes. Sarah was right about one thing: family is everything, but not in the way she meant. Family is everything we choose it to be, the bonds we forge through truth, the trust we build through integrity, the love we earn through genuine care rather than manipulation. And sometimes the best family is the one we build from the ashes of the one that burned.